Okay, so this is video 6. So just like I said, the shit gives humanity, each culture, a piece of truth, and lets them fight over it to create babble, chaos, nonsense. That's what babble is. Just babble, nonsense, saying anything. Okay, so you can see that you know, if you want the truth, okay, how the cosmos, about you know, spirituality and how to live well and eat well and or get with your fellow man, you know, your fellow you know, humanity come together, has to be in Islam. It has to be in Islam. Okay? It has to be in Islam. Okay? Now, okay. So, now, okay. So, humanity makes such a perfect, oh, we read that. Okay. So, I'll read it again anyway. Humanity makes such a perfect source of soul power, light form of food, especially to feast upon, because, like Hebrew, aka people, aka black people, they remain disconnected from their Christ consciousness, maintained in a negative state of dumbed down, controlled by the politically motivated commercial system, and they are completely unaware of who and where from they have come. Humanity is consciously fragmented of the celestial knowledge of their celestial origin. So they are estranged from their celestial origins, you know, in regards to how the universe works and how the seven, going through the seven dimensions, you know, and they're in a family of galaxies and constellations too, right? So the universe is one big family. So oh, where was I at? Well, there's something I want to say that was very important. Oh, about the dumbed down. So they keep humanity dumbed down so they don't excel, right? Oh, no, this is where I was. Okay, this is where I was. Now, all the world knows who the Hebrews are, except the Hebrews themselves, because they don't identify with the Bible. They don't. They're like, not brainwashed. They're sleeping. They're sleeping. They're unconscious of it. But the whole world knows who they are. The whole world knows. They know who you are in the Bible. They know you are the ones in the Bible. Some Europeans of America are waking up to that too, and they embrace it. They want They want the Hebrews to embrace their culture. They know that as long as the Hebrews are held in bondage and abused, that America will be cursed. You know, because what does it say? That those who you know, who you know, show favor upon the Hebrews, the Jews, because you're the Jews. My ancestors were Jews. Are Jews. My ancestors are Jews, not Jewish. The ish comes from Babylon. Ish. Wish. Ish. Anything with ish comes from Ishtar. Okay? So, they weren't Jewish kind of Jew. Kind like. Assimilation too. No, they were Jews. My ancestors. Hebrews. Okay? So, they know who your ancestors are. They know the Bible, regardless of how corrupted it is, it still speaks of you. They know that because history goes beyond 500 years. History extends beyond 500 years. So they know who you are. You know, the Hebrews that were taken in captivity, they are unaware of the history before 500 years, right? When they started with the Crusades, and more than that, the Inquisition. okay, is when the Hebrews started to lose his humanity. His humanity was taken into captivity. That was the Crusades and the enslavement of the Hebrews were done to rip that tree out of the Holy Land so that they could plant that fake tree in. And through time, they knew the Hebrew would forget who he was because 1, it was beaten out of him. 2, his family was broken up. 3, his mother was raped, and then her children made to have intercourse with her, so the DNA was all messed up. So they corrupted the DNA, and then they didn't want him to be educated. So they did all kind of terrible things to try to remove that consciousness from the Hebrew, that he is the Hebrew, and that he is to inherit that legacy. That is why the Drumpf went to, they've been doing all kind of stuff to try to take it. The Drumpf went to that church where he supposedly got the Hebrew legacy Bible, heritage Bible. They gave him the Jewish heritage, the Hebrew heritage Bible. That was like trying to give him the legacy, because they're still after it. That's why he tried to recognize Jerusalem as the capital of the Antichrist. That's why he's trying to not give the Palestinians, foreign aid, and make them take the foreign aid from the occupiers of the Wahhabis, terrorists, occupiers of Hijaz, the Saudi occupiers of Hijaz, the terrorist Saudi Wahhabi occupiers of Hijaz, trying to make them give probably what they're doing is giving the wealth to the Hijaz, not Hijaz, giving the wealth to the Saudis, and then having the Saudis giving it to the Palestinians, so the Palestinians will think it's the Saudis giving it to them, and then they will acquiesce to what the Saudis want, and then the Saudis will be told how to handle the Palestinians, and the Palestinians will be supposed to be able to listen to the Saudis because they're the ones who's feeding them and giving them the money, so they will acquiesce to the Saudis, and the Saudis all the while doing the will of the Antichrist to make the Palestinians do the will of bow down to the Antichrist. So that's how they would work that. Okay, and make you think, oh well, it's the Saudis that influence. It's their own people, so they should make peace. They don't want to make peace with their own. They don't even want their own people, the Arabs, to make peace with them, to aid them and make peace. Palestinians just don't want peace, so let's kill them all. That's the game they're going to be playing. When all the while the Saudis are in bed with the Zionists, right, to support the Zionists, because the Saudis know that their oil is running out. They know their oil is running out, so they want to keep the money from the Hajj coming in, and they know that pretty soon, this is very important, they know that prophecies come into play, and the prophecy is when the leadership of the House of Saud changes, the dynasty of Saud changes, and the leadership or the crown goes from, it was intended to go from brother to brother. That's how it was set up. Now they changed it from father to son, and the prophecy is when the crown of the Wahhabis go from father to son, that's when the Mahdi would arrive. And the son, who would be now the king at that time, which is transpiring to Salman, Pigpen Salman, okay? The son of Salman, the son of Pigpen, because that's what a Saul is a pig. So, Pigman, right? So, it's going from Pigman to Pig son, right? And they know that means the Mahdi is around. The Mahdi is around. They know that. So they're trying to set up the kingdom whereby that prophecy wouldn't come into play or would have no effect. So they're trying to give him all this military power from America, from the Drumpf regime, to reinforce him, right? To reinforce him, okay? Because they know once it's under a black flag, not the ISIS black flag, but the black flag. They tried to deceive you with that ISIS black flag to make you go to war and break up all those Muslim countries those Arab countries, so that when the Mahdi rides, he wouldn't, because the Mahdi is supposed to ride with the prophet born of a virgin. He's supposed to protect the prophet born of a virgin. You got to know that. The Mahdi is here to protect the Muslim. The Mahdi in the Muslim army is to ride to protect the prophet born of a virgin. Okay? So when you destroy those Muslim countries, what you're trying to do at the aid of the Antichrist is trying to destroy those who are to aid the prophet born of a virgin when, that time arrives. So that's what they know. And they know because they have changed the way the crown is to go from brother to brother, and they changed it to father to son. They know the Mahdi is here, and they know that prophecy goes. When that crown goes from father to son, there's going to be a rival in the crown family, in that Wahhabi crown family, the Saud crown family. Okay? And notice the Salman Pig Sal is causing all kind of chaos to his families, imprisoning them and doing all these kinds of things to his family because he wants to protect his son into power. He wants to make sure he has, a smooth transition into power, so that because he needs to support America, so he can be the only, let's say, the only force in that area, so that he can maintain the wealth when the oil works out, and he can maintain the wealth from all the millions of Muslims that make Hajj to that area each year. So they want that to be the income. So and then what he's doing is pretending like he is a modernizer, and upgrading. But what he's really doing is trying to get all Muslims around the world to support him and protect him when the Mahdi rides. Okay, because the Mahdi is to get rid of that corruption out of the Holy Land. Okay, just like Prophet Isa will get the corruption out of the Holy Land of Jerusalem, Palestine. The Mahdi is to get the corruption of the Antichrist out of Hijaz, right? So what happens? The prophecy, as I said before, is to when the crown of the Saudi dynasty goes from father to son, the Mahdi will rise, and then the king, which would be the son at that time, okay, would send out an army to meet with the Mahdi, and Allah would cause a big earthquake to swallow that army up. And then you will know, okay, it's the end time, the Antichrist, the one they call the Dajjal. It's time for him to be over. All the Armageddon will break loose. But it's not going to be, but it's going to, let's say the war against the Antichrist will start. The war against the Antichrist will start. His time will be over. And they know that, and that's why the Pig Salman's son is getting all this military aid. That's why the regime of Trump, rather than connecting America from the Zionists, the Antichrist, no, he's reinforcing the Antichrist everywhere, so that because he's part of the Antichrist, they're part of the Antichrist, so they're reinforcing them everywhere so that they can try to stand when this happens, because it's scheduled to go down, to happen, to begin when Pig Salman dies, and if you look at him, look how old he is. Look what condition he's in. I don't know when he's going to pass. Nobody can predict that but Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Okay? And I'm not trying to predict that. I don't try to predict that for anybody. Okay? But I'm just letting you know the prophecy and what it's to say. And he's very old, and some say he's very sick. So it could be any time. And that's why they are really, really preparing and trying to reinforce Salman Saud and trying to get rid of Iran and all that, because they don't want Iran to ride with the Mahdi. Okay? And that's why they're trying to make Iran look, oh, it's Shia, it's a Shia. No, as long as they say, as long as the Muslim says, Ashhadu la ilaha illallah Muhammad Rasulullah, it's not my business. It's not a Muslim business whether they're Shia or Sunni or what. Okay? As long as Ashhadu la ilaha illallah Muhammad Rasulullah, and believe in the prophets, the judgment, day of judgment, all the angels, make Hajj, give zakah, and believe in all the prophets. Okay? The 5 pillars of Islam. They're fine. So Shia, get over that stuff. Okay? A Muslim, mashallah subhanahu wa ta'ala, is a Muslim. Okay? A believer. It means a believer. And that's what Prophet Abraham, descendant of Ham, the supposed cursed one in the plagiarized Bible, named them believers. That's what a Muslim is, a believer in the divine Allah that Prophet Abraham and all the prophets, including Prophet Isa, believes in. Okay? Okay. And remember, Prophet Isa is going to be a Muslim. So when, the prophet, and the prophet is stated to be here, right? Stated to be here. So, the prophet will be a Muslim. Okay? Of the Christ consciousness. Okay? And remember, Christ doesn't mean Jesus Christ. It means the consciousness of the higher consciousness of the crown chakra. Okay? The open chakra. The opened eye. The wise one. Right? Okay, the illuminated one, as it relates to light. Okay. Now, so, okay. So, now, so, and, okay, so I read that. Let me see where we are. Okay, so even when humanity is prophetically informed of the celestial spiritual origins, that are black clay, let's say, they refuse to accept the divine truth. They rather stay in ignorance. Many would rather stay in ignorance. Some would rather stay in ignorance. I won't say all, but some would stay in ignorance, prefer to stay in ignorance, like Nazis, let's say. They would rather stay in ignorance. Ignorance makes feeding on human souls power much easier than stealing candy from a baby. Depleting humanity through color coding of conquer humanity, control humanity, and control humanity like chattel in order to harness their collective light source. In the same manner, holy cows are milked. And after bilking the root chakra, humanity is abandoned, feeling tired, aggravated, irritated. Okay, same thing. Annoyed, listless, lethargic, impoverished, and consciously inept. They're just too tired to do any damn thing, and it's like, fuck, leave me alone. They say, fuck me, leave me alone, right? But they don't want to be bothered. They're tired. Fuck it. Okay, brain dead, brain tired. Okay, so now in order to manifest and transcend the physical consciousness, to comprehend life beyond the female Milky Way galaxy, okay, the physical consciousness is like, in order to understand life on the outside of the womb, have to be born into it. Have to be born into this world, this dimension, okay, this earthly plane. In order to understand life on the earthly plane, have to come out the womb and live the experience. In order to understand the consciousness, the crown consciousness, have to come out of the Milky Way consciousness, the physical consciousness, and connect with the crown consciousness, open that third eye, and become a part of it, right? To see life on that scale, on that level, in that from that perspective, right? Have to come out of the physical consciousness, be born again, right? And born into the higher dimension of consciousness. And that's what the Christ consciousness is about, being born again. That's what the resurrection is about, being born again, right? Being born again. That's what Easter is about. The egg, the hare, the nappy hair, the rabbit, the nappy hair. So they're telling you everything, but they're giving it to you from a perverted perspective. Just like I said, giving pieces of consciousness, then having people fight over it. A perverted way of consciousness. The root chakra, perverted way of consciousness. It's all about sex. They have sex rituals to get power, right? All about when sex rituals are fine, when they're husband and wife, and that's a ritual of husband and wife. It's a divine ritual to engage with husband and wife. That's a ritual, right? To bring forth life, right? To resurrect through the energy of the grandparents, the parents, right? To resurrect their own energy that's going to pass, right? And then reincarnate through the children, the DNA, right? So that's what Easter's about, right? Being born again, resurrected, okay? So, but they don't tell you that, right? Just like they tell you, Ham was cursed, and despite Abraham, despite Bethlehem, okay? Despite, the fact that he was a great warrior, right? But they tell you he's a hunter. But nonetheless, they attribute it to Orion, right? Orion's belt, the great hunter. That's Ham out there. That's Ham. When they talk about the great hunter of Orion, that's Ham. Okay? That's Ham. All like the pyramids and those great monoliths and all the things are aligned to monuments are aligned to Orion, right? Like the pyramids and all these other places in Greece and in Rome and all these places, right? And even Asia are aligned with Orion, right? Because it represents Ham, right? The son of Noah, right? Whose son is Cush, whose son is the Ethiopians, whose son is the Hebrews, right? Whose sons were taken into captivity, which was prophesied by Abraham, descendant of Ham. But they don't tell you that in the prophet Isa is a descendant of Ham. Isaac is a descendant of Ham because he's a descendant of Abraham. All the prophets are a descendant of Ham. But they don't want to tell you that. Tell you he was cursed. Yeah, he was cursed by the shit who don't like him, who's jealous of him, and has been trying to destroy him by trying to sacrifice him, even at the holy time of Christmas, right? Making him the shit, the devil. Black man is wicked. Black man is this. Black man is that. Trying to make him the devil. When he's the favorite, when he's the carbon atom, the one that was created in the seventh heaven with the hands of Allah, the consciousness of Allah. Right? Allah blew into him, his nose, okay, of his spirit into man's body, the black carbon. But he's to be the one, the corrupt one. He's to be the one that's devil, the Debbie Noel, right? Don't believe that shit. Don't believe what they say. You better think for yourself. Anyway, so as I said, so humanity won't believe it, even if some of humanity don't believe it, okay? Now, and so it makes it stealing easier than from a baby. Now, in order to manifest and transcend the physical consciousness, to comprehend life beyond the female Milky Way galaxy and return to the Father Christ consciousness galaxy, where they are born again to the higher consciousness, one needs their soul power to remain pure. That means it don't need the negativity keeping it grounded. Negativity is like, if you have these like you get those party balloons and put this thing on it and put like a anchor on them to keep them from floating away. Well, that's what negativity is like to the consciousness. And the consciousness is the let's say the Kundalini rises, right? Rises from the focus, rises from the root chakra into the higher consciousness, like the balloon without the negativity, and it floats away, right? They don't want that, right? So they want to keep the person grounded with negative, so they keep them focused on sex. looking at the sex, looking at this, being physically, just like keeping the attention focused on negativity, whether it be sex, whether it be illegal drugs, or even doing on drugs, whether it be violence, whether it be commercial materialism, and you got to have material things to live. I understand that. I recognize that. But overly indulging in that without, like simple carbohydrates, where the consciousness is fed nothing, okay, because that's the real wealth in life, is the higher consciousness, right? Okay, so consciously, humanity is grounded by the Vatican, the Draconian Nazi root chakra consciousness, right? So, the negative consciousness of divisiveness, aggression, violence, and hate that keeps humanity trapped consciously and physically snared in the negative, altered environmental state of antimatter, right? Now, you got to remember this. So they always got the humanity following the body, right? Remember, the north node represents the head. South node represents, north node consciousness represents the crown chakra. Okay, that's the direction that Kundalini has to travel. But rather than focus on north node consciousness, okay, which is the crown chakra consciousness, they got humanity following the south node consciousness, which is negativity, physical consciousness of the body, right? And that's the constant state of antimatter, right? Okay, so now mind control. Humanity is mind controlled, and the consciousness, or the Kundalini, is unable to consciously connect telepathically to the cosmic intelligence by way of their pineal gland, and telepathically intercourse with the holy divine of the total universe, right? Through their galactic Andromeda, right, which is the crown chakra, right, the father consciousness, the Christ consciousness, right, the dominant consciousness, the male consciousness, right, because dominant energy is predominant in the universe. Male energy is predominant in the universe. It has to be, because that is positive energy, should be the dominant energy. Positive energy should be the dominant energy, right? Okay. Now, it keeps them from connecting, being grounded, keeps them telepathically disconnected from intercoursing with their holy divine universe, the one voice, the one conscious, the highest of all consciousness, the creator of all consciousness, right? Creator of all creations. Okay, and by being disconnected from their galactic consciousness, the Father consciousness, the Christ consciousness from Andromeda, right? Now, so they're not connected to that. They're not connected with their carbon black Father, higher Christ consciousness. And if you notice, even in the world, what do they try to do? They try to keep humanity disconnected from the Hebrew, or the hued man, right? Keep them disconnected from keep humanity disconnected from the Hebrew man. Okay? So they want to keep them disconnected from the Hebrew man as well. Right? Keep them disconnected from Ham, because Ham had the consciousness. Abraham had the consciousness. It spread into Jerusalem. Right? Jerusalem, maybe Jerusalem, right? Jerusalem, and to Bethlehem, right? Okay. Now, keep them away from that. Even keep them away from it in the Bible. Keep even black people away from it. I mean, the Hebrew people themselves away from it, right? By hiding it behind a gypsum-faced, gray-faced, gray alien face, right? Reptilian-faced being, right? Okay. So, okay. Humanity is told black is bad, and Nazi hate, aggression, violence, brutality, nuclear war, and gypsum face which is gray face basically, is makes the alt-right, is the alt-right. Humanity is told, aggression, violence, and the abandonment of love makes one a complete man. Abandonment of the woman makes him a complete man. The body of humanity is to sever its black ties and thus alleviate its pursuit of peace, divine love, and the opening of its cosmic egg, aka crown chakra, and become born again in the higher Christ consciousness of their galactic holy black carbon father. Okay? The Nazi Draconian anticrist negative consciousness programmed through the temporal lobe, okay, which all those things we talked about, hate, aggression, violence, brutality, hate of misogyny, what do they call it? Adultery, but fornication, all that, right? Is the negative root chakra consciousness, right? The consciousness of the body, right? Okay, the consciousness of an unconscious body, right? Because the head is to be the conscious of the body, but when the head is not the conscious body, it's an unconscious body. Okay, so man is an unconscious body. That means he's not using the crown chakra. He's not using his head, so he's unconscious body, right? Okay, unconscious head, human body. And here comes the Vatican in to claim that headless body to represent the head to represent the head, right? To represent the head of the body. He's to place his head, just like they said that it's reported that Kushner wants to be the head. He wants to be the wise head that is placed atop the supposedly the headless or the unconscious body, Hebrew body, right? And the Hebrew body is to do all the work, all the fighting, and all which Ham was supposed to do, right? The Ham was to be the strong physical, hunter, Orion, Aryan, right? He's the original Aryan race, right? Ham is the original Aryan race under Orion's belt, right? Under Aries, right? Or near Aries, okay? So, they want to have that Aryan body and that reptilian head, or that Antichrist head, right? Okay, so, man is to be guided by that, right? So they're to be programmed by that, controlled by that, right? Okay, so let me make sure I'm in the right place. Okay, so the Nazi Draconian antimatter negative consciousness programmed through the temporal lobe is a temporal consciousness that prevents humanity from consciously evolving telepathically beyond the 5 senses, beyond their 5 senses. Okay, so we're gonna have to. I gotta watch and make sure we go to the right, because we're getting ready to go to video 7. Okay, so they're to stay revolving around the negative consciousness. That will be revolving around the Antichrist. That will be the revolving around the body, unconscious, revolving around an unconscious body of the South Node, right? Okay, in the root chakra consciousness, right? So we're gonna go to video 7. Okay, we're gonna go to video 7.